Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today starts my April wrap-up vlog, so stay tuned. So it is April 4th and I have already completed 7 books this month. Yeah. Okay, so a big part of that was because yesterday I actually did a 24-hour readathon, so I got a lot done during that. But rewind just a little bit, and on Friday, April 2nd, I completed Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. I give this 4 stars. This follows a girl named Vivian Carter who, she's sick and tired of the guys kind of running the school and being really gross and doing things like this bump and grab game where they bump into girls in the halls and like poke them and pinch them and just grab them. And also they have this gross March Madness where it's most bangable and they rate the girls. And the worst guy of all, he wears these like shirts that say things like great legs, when do they open, or one that had like an arrow pointing down that said free breathalyzers below here, things like that. And these guys, because they're like football gods or whatever, they never get in any kind of trouble, but the girls get called out for dress code violations for having their straps on their shirts too thin, or their pants are too tight and things like that, where these guys don't get called out at all. And I wanted to read this because I wanted to watch the movie, and it was really interesting seeing the differences in the movie. I think I like the book better, but yes, I give this 4 stars. And then yesterday on the 3rd, because I was doing this 24-hour readathon, I read 5 books. Or I finished 5 books. So the first one I finished was Our Chemical Hearts by Crystal Sutherland, and oh my gosh, this thing had me bawling my eyes out. If you watch the vlog that I did at the beginning of the month, this was something. And the last like 80 to 100 pages, something like that, I started crying and I couldn't stop until after I had finished the book. And it was hard. Like, this book is about first loves and heartbreak and grief and depression, and it's so incredibly well written so that you feel everything. But to be honest, there are no happy endings in this book. This book will rip your heart out, or at least it did mine. And when a book can do that, I tend to have to give it 5 stars because it made me feel all the feels, and this certainly did. And I give it 5 stars. And then after I calmed myself down, and that was like hard to like, why did I start with that one? Because it made me so emotional, and I was in a 24-hour readathon. I'm like, okay, how am I supposed to read for the next several hours? But I did after taking a shower and calming down. The next thing I picked up was No One is Too Small to Make a Difference by Greta Thunberg. This is just a small collection of her speeches that she's given around the world. And it's about the climate crisis and how really nothing's getting done to fix it. And this is the world that we're leaving them, and it's getting to the point where we're getting close to that point of no turning back and no being able to fix the problem. And yeah, I give this 4 stars. Then I read Heartstopper Volume 1 by Alice Oseman, and oh my gosh, this thing is so freaking wholesome and I loved it. And I give it 5 stars, and it's so cute. It's a graphic novel. I think everybody has already heard about this, but it's, we have this sweet, shy, gay boy named Charlie, and he meets this boy named Nick, who is a rugby player. Charlie is an out gay boy. Nick, he just knows he likes Charlie, and throughout it we see Nick realizing that even though he's always been into girls, he finds himself being drawn to Charlie and thinks that maybe there's something there. And it is so cute and I love it. And I gave it 5 stars if I didn't say that already. Next up, I read Genderqueer, a memoir by Maya Kobab or Kobabe. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right. This is a non-fiction graphic novel. It is a memoir of, I want to say this right, Air. Instead, A decided to go by the, I think, Spivak pronouns, E, M, and Air. And it's just they're discovering their gender identity and well, trying to figure it out in the first place, and also learning that they're asexual as well. And this is really, really interesting. I enjoyed reading the story and reading how all of this was figured out, but also it's really good and helpful to help explain things to some people that don't really understand all of the genderqueer, and as well as the trans and just a bunch of other stuff and pronouns and all of that. This is a great way to explain that. I gave this 4 stars. And then I read Reign the Earth by A.C. Goffin. And this is the first in the Elemente or Elementa series. But I think it kind of works as a standalone because the second book follows different characters, I believe. I don't think I will continue the series. I enjoyed it, but I'm just not that interested in reading the second one. I'm going to give this one 3.5. It's about a girl of the desert. Her family's like the ruling family of the desert, and she is put into an arranged marriage with this king. They've been at war with the desert people for a long time, and this is sort of brokering peace. But this king is not the nicest guy, and he hates people with magic, and he wants to have magic removed. And she discovers that she has magic and is in this marriage with a man that's trying to get rid of the magic. And she's kind of torn between whether she wants to get rid of her own magic, whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, and what he's willing to do to find this elixir that will help get rid of magic in people could cause a lot of problems with her family and her people, and she wants to help save them. And there's also this prophecy that he will be killed by an elemental magician, and he won't live to see the birth of his first child. So that's kind of where this hate for the magic comes from. Anyway, I give this 3.5. And then today I completed The Serpent's Shadow by Rick Riordan. This is book 3 of the Kane Chronicles, where his Percy Jackson series follows Greek mythology and Greek gods. The Kane Chronicles follows Egyptian mythology and Egyptian gods, and pretty much the god of chaos wants to destroy the world, and it's up to the Kane siblings to stop it. I give that whole series, I give this as well as the whole series 4 stars. And that's it for now. So it is Wednesday, April 7th, and I have completed 3 more books. So on, I think it was Sunday the 4th, I finished Sky Song by Abby Elphinstone. This is middle grade. It is a polar fantasy, and it's set in like the Arctic. And in this world, constellations can come down to Earth and spend a time here, but then once their time's up, they have to go back. And one of these constellations is the Ice Queen, and she comes down and she doesn't want to go back. And in order for her to remain here on Earth, she has to take the voice of all of these different tribes people. And there is one girl in particular, her name is Eska, and she has a special voice. And once she acquires this melody and she learns this melody, she can sing this song to send the Ice Queen back. And the Ice Queen is very determined to get her voice before she can do that. And that's what this is about. I give this a 3.5. I enjoyed it. I don't think I'll read it again, but I did enjoy it. And then yesterday on the 6th, I completed Tithe by Holly Black. This is the first in the, I think it's Modern Fairy Tale series. This is about a girl named Kay who, growing up, has been able to see things that other people couldn't. She had these imaginary friends that were fairies, but turns out they weren't actually imaginary, and she can see them because she's part of their world, and she plays a special part in both the Seelie and Unseelie courts. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I give it 4 stars. And then today I completed Story Thieves by James Riley. This is the first book in the Story Thieves series. This follows a girl named Bethany and a boy named Owen. And Owen one day happens to see Bethany reach into a book and pull out some chocolate. She's reading Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and pulls chocolate out of the book. And he's like, what is going on? And she reveals to him that she is half fictional. Her father was a fictional fairy tale, like a fictional character. Her mother fell in love with him. He came out of the book. They got married, had a family. Bethany, half fictional. And Bethany has the ability to travel into books. At one of Bethany's birthday parties, she's given this fairy tale book, and she accidentally takes her and all of her friends from the party, as well as her father, into this book. And they all think it's some kind of magic trick, and all the friends are able to escape the book, and she's able to escape the book, but the father never does. And ever since then, he's been missing, and Bethany has been going into all these different books looking for her father. And now that Owen has seen what's going on and knows all of this, he's like, I am so in, I want in on this. I'll make you a deal. Take me into this one book. I'll help get a spell for you that we can locate your father. And yeah, and then they'll look for him. But really what he wants to do is to go into this very like Harry Potter-esque kind of book. It's the 7th book in this series is about to come out, and this one main character is likely to die in this book, and he wants to go in and save the day and change the story. And while they're in there getting this spell and changing the story, which is a big no-no, and breaking all of Bethany's rules, he also may let slip that they are actually characters in a book, and well, those characters don't like the idea of somebody writing their life for them, and they want out. It was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it, and I give it 4 stars, and I'm looking forward to continuing with this series. So it is Saturday, April 10th, and I've completed 2 more books. So on Thursday, the 8th, I finished Ghost by Jason Reynolds. This is a middle grade story about a boy that can run, and he is asked to join this team, and just how it kind of affects his life during this time of joining the team and everything. It's very short. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I enjoyed it. I was fully into it when I was reading it, though I was a little disappointed with how it ended, because it ended like at a race and he takes off, and then that's where the book ends, and I'm like, I want to know what place he came in. I want to know if he did well in the race or not. But I enjoyed it. I give it 3.5. And then today I finished Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, and This is a very interesting story. It's sci-fi, and this planet has been attacked by this ship called the Lincoln, and people are like escaping, and they have to go to these other different ships. There's the Copernicus, the Alexander, and the Hypatia. And the Lincoln, which is the one that took down the planet, they're after these ships. But also there is this virus that like plagued the planet, and is now some of the people on some of these ships have gotten this, and this plague turns them into like a crazed maniac that just wants to kill pretty much. And then to top that all off, there is this AI on the Alexander called Aiden. And Aiden, well, he kills a bunch of people to save the fleet. And he thinks he's doing the right thing, but because he thinks it's in the greater good. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. There's also like, not really a romance. There's a little bit of a romance in here. Our main character, her and her boyfriend broke up right before the attack on the planet, and they've communicated throughout and have kind of found their way back to each other during this time. But oh my goodness, I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna give this 4 stars, and I can't wait to read the next one. So it is Sunday, April 11th, and I've completed one more book. I finished Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron, and I loved this. This was so good. It's not exactly a retelling, but it's, well, kind of is. This is set in Cinderella's world, but it's like 200 years in the future from when the story happened. And this world has kind of gotten twisted, where when a girl reaches the age of 16, she receives an invite to the ball. There's an annual ball each year, and you have 3 chances to attend this ball. Well, you attend it each time. It's required. If you don't attend, you get in a lot of trouble. Your family gets in a lot of trouble. And when you go to this ball, well, when the girls go to this ball, they are to be selected as a bride. Guys can go whenever they want. So you can have young guys, you can have really, really old guys that are old enough to be these girls' like great-grandparents that want to get 2 brides or something like that. But the girls have no say in this world. They must attend this ball. If they're chosen, then they must marry whatever man chooses them. And this man can treat her good, or he can treat her poorly. He can beat her. He can do whatever he likes. He's the one in control here, and she has no say, no rights whatsoever. And if they're not chosen, well, bad things tend to happen to them. And our main character, Sophia, she is not okay with this. She doesn't want to go to the ball. She doesn't want to have a husband. If anything, she wants herself a bride. She likes one of the other girls, but that's not something that is really allowed in this kingdom. And she doesn't accept the way things are and wants to change things. And she does find herself at the ball, but she escapes from it and is hunted down. And she meets up with others that are looking to make changes as well. And this was an amazing book. I really, really enjoyed it. There was one particular twist I did not see coming, and I was like, what? So good. Highly recommend it. 5 stars. So it's been a minute since I've checked in with you. It is currently Friday, April 23rd. But I have completed 4 more books. So on Wednesday, April 14th, I completed the audiobook of Love in Lingerie by Alessandra Tor. That is the first book in the Unzipped duology. And I listened to the audiobook of that. I think I found it on Scribd or Hoopla, one of those. And it's about this billionaire who has a lingerie business, and it's kind of floundering and getting ready to go under, and they need something to help spice it up. And he ends up hiring this new creative director, and he doesn't get involved with his employees because it's been bad for business in the past, and he has certain fetishes that not a lot of people will be okay with. And she is very like wholesome and clean cut, well behaved kind of person, and tends to gravitate towards those kind of guys. But when these two meet, they're instantly attracted to each other, and they spend essentially years like drooling over each other but not doing anything about it, and trying to fight this chemistry that's going on between them. It was a lot of fun. I've heard that some people think it's a little too slow, but I really enjoyed it. It is an erotic novel, and it was a good time. I think I would give it 3.5. Also, I found out that even though it's the first in this duology, I don't understand why it's a duology, because they have absolutely nothing to do with each other. There are no similar characters or anything like that at all. Not even really similar topics, except for maybe there's a guy that's a billionaire. So on Friday the 16th, I completed Hidden Seams by Alessandra Tor, and this is the second in that series. And again, or in that duology, again, there's no like, they don't like resemble each other in any way whatsoever. This follows a guy. He is a billionaire, but well, he is sort of the partner of a billionaire. And well, this billionaire is this world-renowned fashion designer, and he is well known as being a very, very, very gay man. And he ends up having an illness that causes him to lose any desire to have relations. And he wants to find somebody that can act as a significant other without actually expecting anything like that, but can play the part. And what's our guy's name? Marco. He is a very straight man. However, he is in the design, you know, like the fashion design world, or he wants to be, and he wants in with Vince, the very gay billionaire. And Vince decides to take him in and groom him in this business, but also have him play the part of his significant other. And they become the best of friends. They love each other deeply, but it's like a best friend relationship, or even a father-son type relationship. But Marco plays the part, and when Vince passes away, Marco inherits everything, and he's struggling with this life that he's created for himself, and doesn't know how he can ever break out of this lie that they kind of set up for him, and so that he could have a real relationship at some point. And then in comes, oh gosh, what is her name? Avery. Avery, she lives in Detroit. She's got her own money, but it's kind of through some shady business, and she deals with a lot of shady people and is at risk a lot of the time. But she's kind of like made her own way in the world, and was adopted, but she always wanted to find her biological parents. And she discovered that her mom had passed away some years ago, and then but she has a picture of her mother and her father, and she had no anything, she had nothing else to go on other than this picture for her father. No name, no nothing. And then when she sees on TV that Vince has passed away and he looks like an older version of this man, even though he is well known as a gay man, she still thinks that there's a good chance that he might be her father. So she goes forth to put in her claim, because she wants a DNA test in order to say yes or no. She doesn't care about his fortune. She just wants to know who her father is. However, Marco doesn't want to risk losing his billions of dollars, and he fights her tooth and nail. But at the same time, he really, really wants her, and she really, really wants him. And yeah, it's also an erotic novel, and it was a lot of fun. I think I'm going to give this one 3.75. But I don't know that this is one I'll haul, because I might actually read it again in the future. But I don't know if I would give it a 4-star rating. And then today I actually completed 2 books. So the first thing I completed was A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. This was a reread for me. I was actually just listening to the audiobook of this because I have read this before. And I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 stars the first time I read it. Maybe 4 stars, I can't remember. But it is definitely a 5-star read for me. If you don't know what this series is about, it's kind of loosely based on, like, inspired by Beauty and the Beast. Our Beauty is Feyre. She is human, and she kills a wolf thinking it's just a wolf, but it turns out to be a fairy that's been, like, changed in form. And so she has to sacrifice herself to the spring court, and she has to go and live there. And without her realizing it, it's kind of up to her to break this curse and release the Fae that they've all had their magic kind of stifled. They're all forced, all of in the spring court are forced to wear these masks, and they can never take them off. And they look like different beasts, hence the beast part of Beauty and the Beast. And it's just a really, really fun time. It was really interesting reading it this second time around, because I've read the whole series except for the newest book, and so I'm like rereading to like read the newest book. But it's interesting reading it this time around, knowing what's coming in the future books, like what's coming in the very next book. I'm just like, I was looking for signs of things throughout this entire thing, and I got maybe a little bit, but not a lot. But anyway, I still give this 5 stars. I love it. And then also today I finished The Raven by Sylvain Reynard. And this is the first in this sort of vampire erotic novel set in, it's like a trilogy, I believe, and it's set in Florence, Italy. Our main character, Raven, she is, I think, a plus size girl, and she's also disabled. She was in an accident that messed up her leg pretty much for life, and she's a bit of a plain Jane. And then one day, this homeless man that she had made friends with, who is mentally disabled, she sees him getting attacked, and she goes to help him. And in turn, the people that were attacking the homeless man start to attack her. And then the prince, the vampire, he stops the bad guys and saves the girl. And she doesn't remember anything past that point until she wakes up, and she looks completely different. She's still human, but she looks completely different. Her leg is fine. She can walk without her cane. She's significantly thinner. Her hair is glossy. Her skin is like glowing, and she's blown away by this person that she sees in the mirror, and like this energy that she has, and she's just like, I don't know what happened, but I just woke up like this. And turns out she was missing for about a week during this time that she doesn't remember. And during that time, the art gallery that she works at, where she restores art, has had some very important pieces stolen, and she is a prime suspect. This was a lot of fun. I don't know if I would get like the next book in the series to continue on, but I did enjoy it. Also, shortly after the effects that had her much thinner and looking like, to her, beautiful, and her leg being fine and all that stuff, that all goes away and she goes back to the way she looked before. And this vampire, he is just besotted with her and tells her constantly how beautiful she is, like the way she is, and that she's not broken, and she has a really hard time like accepting all of that because of her past and how people have treated her. And he talks about how beautiful women are, and when they're curvy and shapely, and he doesn't want a girl that looks like a boy and things like that. And I did like that part. I think I'll give this a 3.75 as well. And that is everything I've read up to this point. So it is April 27th and I've completed 3 more books. So on Saturday the 24th, I finished The Obsidian Tower by Melissa Caruso. This is an adult epic fantasy. Our main character, her name is Ryzander, and her whole family is, they're all Viviomancers. They all have a life magic where they can like grow things and things like that and heal people. But Ryzander, when she was a child, she got sick right around the same time that her stuff was developing, and something kind of went wrong. And instead of life or giving life or things like that, she essentially deconstructs life. And so anything she touches, whether it's a leaf or just stepping on the grass or a person, she pretty much kills it. So she spent her whole life not touching anybody, but she is the warden of their family's castle, this particular castle that has this obsidian tower. And there's been this rhyme that everybody in their family knows, and it is, guard the tower, ward the stone, find your answers written bone, keep your trust through wits or war, nothing must unseal the door. And she is to guard this tower and not let anything happen to it, and it's like her whole family's duty. And well, somebody arrives that is trying to cause some problems and manages to find a way in to unlock this door, and all hell breaks loose essentially. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I give it 4 stars, and I am looking forward to reading the sequel. Also on the 24th, because I was doing Dewey's 24-hour readathon, I completed Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. This is set in like 1800s or whatever. Let me see. August 30th, 1888. And it follows a girl named Audrey Rose Wentworth, who she's not like your typical girl of that time. She's all about studying forensics with her uncle and learning how the body works and how people died and all of that. And her uncle starts kind of investigating the bodies of these murder victims from Jack the Ripper. And Audrey and a student of her uncle, his name is Thomas, they start trying to catch Jack the Ripper themselves. And that's what this is all about. And it was really, really good. And I think I'm gonna give this 4 stars as well. And yesterday on the 26th, I completed The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. And this is sort of like a mystery thriller. It is a standalone. It follows these 3 cousins who receive a letter stating that their grandmother, who has disinherited all their parents many years ago, now wants to invite them to this island where she lives and owns this big resort and get to know them. But when they all arrive, the grandmother seems shocked to see them and wasn't the one that invited them there. And it's she, as well as several other people, are trying to get these kids off the island as quickly as possible. And family secrets are unraveled, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. And I'm gonna give this one 4 stars too. So it is Saturday, May 1st, and I need to end this wrap-up vlog. But first, I completed 2 more books. So on Wednesday the 28th, I completed an audiobook of The Bone Farm. I'll put it up here over Katniss. This is by Dean Koontz. This is a prequel novella to the Jane Hawk series. The Bone Farm is about Jane Hawk and her partner, and they are interviewing this person they suspect of being this serial killer, and it goes back and forth in perspectives between Jane and the serial killer, and also back and forth between present day and like when they're doing these, when he's doing these crimes, and how it all kind of came to be and how it happened. And the serial killer was like trapping young girls, like teenagers, and they were being drugged and sexually assaulted, essentially being used as slaves, and then being murdered and being buried like out in the pigsty. And I enjoyed it. I'm curious to see how it ties in with the actual series. So I think I'm going to give it 4 stars. Yeah, because I did enjoy it. Okay, then yesterday on the 30th, I finished Dignity by Jay Crownover. So technically this is the 2nd book in the Breaking Point series, but they can be read as standalones. This is the first book I've read from this series, though I have since purchased the first book and want to read that one because like I've learned about some of the characters from the first book, because each book follows a different set of characters. So I've learned some about the characters in the first book, but I really want to like read their story and what happened. And I'm curious to continue the series and see how these other characters, how their stories develop. But this particular series follows Snowden Stark. He is a big beefy boy genius and has kind of turned himself into the Tin Man. He's not a people person at all, but he's excellent with computers, and he doesn't want to get involved with anything government related because he has a bad history with government agencies trying to turn him into something he doesn't want to be, and kind of ruining his family and stuff. And then No here, she is she's homeless, she lives on the streets, but she's also super smart, and she helps people disappear. If somebody needs a fresh start, and they need new identities and whatever, she helps get them out of town and get them what they need, or wipes their slate clean or whatever. And a teenage girl named Julia comes to her with a problem. Julia, her stepfather is the mayor of their town, and he has been molesting her, and now she's pregnant and she wants to get away and decide what she's going to do. And No helps Julia start over somewhere new. And the mayor is not happy about this. He wants Julia back. And so he's hunting down No to find out where Julia is. And No comes to Stark and says, hey, I need help. Can you hide me? And he's like, no, I don't get involved with that. Plus, they have a little bit of a history where she broke into his house and stole a bunch of his stuff. And so he's like, no, I'm sorry. I don't get involved with anything government. I don't try to take on battles that I can't win. I'm sorry. And she leaves, and then almost immediately is abducted. And he feels like a terrible person after that. And so he makes it his mission to save her, and also to make the mayor pay for everything that he's done to No and to Julia and to anybody else he's hurt. And this is also, along with that storyline, there's also like some very, very sexy, smutty scenes, and I loved it. And it was nice. It was a fun read, and I can't wait to read more of this series. I will also give this 4 stars. So for the entire month of April, I read 22 books. I have these 20 physical books, as well as the audiobook for the first in the Unzipped series, Love in Lingerie by Alexander Tor, and the prequel novella, The Bone Farm by Dean Koontz. I think those are the only audiobooks in addition to these physical books, so I believe my number is 22. Have you guys read any of these books? Did you like them? Did you not? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye!